Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today for our next Google Hangouts on Air session. So if you joined us last week, you would have seen that we discussed a little bit on return on investment and conversion tracking within AdWords. So today's session will be a little bit of a continuation on that, but we will be diving into some more specifics on how you can optimize for conversions and specifically discussing bid strategies. So thank you again for joining us today. My name is Connor. I'm an online AdWords specialist here with the Google team.
And I'm Carrie. Connor and I are both on the same team where if you give us a call, you'll probably speak with one of us.
Yep, working AdWords day in, day out. So thanks so much again for joining us there again. Just a quick reminder here before we dive into today's content that this is a live event. So we're speaking to you live right now. If you have any questions on anything or just want to interact with us, feel free to send those our way in the chat box there or in the comments section in the advertiser community. We're more than happy to take a break or pause with those. We'll also have some time at the end of our presentation today for Q&A there. If anybody has any questions, we'll save a few minutes at the end there. But again, feel free to interrupt us at any moment. So just to go through today's agenda there, to give you a quick overview of maybe the types of topics we'll be going into to see if this is of interest. We'll do a brief recap here. Carrie will start with some conversions and how you can optimize for conversions. Then we'll get into some more specifics on individual bid strategy options there. So we're going to highlight three in particular today: the enhanced CPC or enhanced cost per click bid strategy, the target CPA or target cost per acquisition bid strategy, and the target ROAS or target return on ad spend bid strategy there. So a lot of abbreviations. We'll break it down though. We'll go into the specifics, and then at the end we'll dive into the implementation before a quick review and a Q&A there. Without further ado, I'll turn on over to Carrie here to introduce us to our conversion options.
Thanks, Connor. So for those of you who did not get the opportunity to join us last week, I'm just going to do a brief overview of what conversions are. So AdWords conversions are a way for you to track the most important actions that someone takes on your website. For example, they can fill out a lead form or a contact us form, make an online purchase, or even phone calls. So you track these so that you can see how many visitors to your website actually turn into a customer. And then with conversion tracking, it's absolutely free. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't have it set up. And if for any reason you don't know how to set up conversion tracking, certainly go to our AdWords Help Center or give us a call directly and we can help guide you through it. Now, why do conversions matter? As I briefly stated, that it's all about measuring your investment with AdWords. You don't want you to spend money and not know if it's working. So with the conversion tracking, you can actually see exactly which campaign, ad group, ad, or even precisely what keyword triggered someone to go to your website and perform those most valued actions for you. And from there, you can actually calculate your return on investment more accurately. You know how much it is to produce your product. Then you can add in the cost of money that you spend on advertising for that product, divide by what it sells for, and actually see those figures completely. So with optimizing for conversions, we have a couple of different things that we do. Today's focus is going to be on our smart bid strategies. These include ways for our system to actually look at the people who have purchased on your site previously and compare them to new users. It uses a little bit of that machine learning I think you've probably heard of and takes the guesswork out of your bid strategies for you. So this way, you are more likely to get more conversions and more of the customers that you want to your website versus just anyone and everyone spending money clicking on your ads. Now, next week, we will dive further into bid strategy or bid adjustment strategies, targeting, and some more optimization specific items. But today's focus is just going to be on these bid strategies. So Connor, if you want to go ahead and go for our first bid strategy for today.
Definitely, yeah, excited to there, Carrie. Thanks so much. So as Carrie was mentioning there, I just want to throw in really briefly here too. If you want to learn more about conversion tracking and how to best find the best conversions for your specific business, industry, retail vertical there, check out also our last week's presentation between Carrie and I. It should be on the AdWords YouTube channel there, but we really highlight some examples and some specifics there on implementation as well for conversion tracking. So definitely take a look there if you want to do a little recap before moving on. This is going to be the next level of that. But our first bid strategy that we want to discuss today in depth would be that enhanced CPC, or again, enhanced cost per click bid strategy. So just to give you a little bit of understanding on what this bid strategy actually is. So at the end, we'll go through implementation, but just a brief overview here first on how you can use this and what it's going to do for you. Most of you are probably familiar with manual or automatic bid strategies. Those would be those bid strategies you can select in your campaign or for your ad groups or keywords there. Those are essentially going to be, you can either manually set the bids or AdWords can adjust the bids for you. Today we're going to be focusing on those automated or smart bid strategies primarily. So enhanced cost per click, or ECPC, so got the rhyming down there. The bid strategy there is an automatic bid strategy type. So what AdWords is going to be doing is the system will automatically raise or lower your bids to optimize and to adjust to get you the most conversions based on your previous historical conversion data. So if we're tracking that conversion data, the system then actually takes that data and uses it in its understanding to learn how to best gauge and optimize to capture that conversion or sale or action of value there for your business. So the specifics on that here would be AdWords would automatically raise your bid by up to 30%, would be the upper maximum. So if you have a $1 bid set, for example, that would raise it up to potentially $1.30, would be 30 cents above that maximum. Or it could lower it by as much as 100%. So it might not bid at all there. So you might be seeing some lower bids there as well. If the system thinks maybe this user isn't somebody who's likely to convert based on our past performance, we're going to bid lower and not waste the money here on them if they click. So again, it's going to be using that historical data. There's no minimum amount of data that you need to use ECPC, or enhanced cost per click. But obviously, the more data you do have, the more accurate and the more effective the system is going to be. So I would say it doesn't hurt to enable it right from the get-go. As you can see on our slides here, you're going to see pretty much results that are at least better, or at the bare minimum the same as what you were getting before. I've never seen it the case where you would see a performance decrease by using ECPC. If anything, if you don't have much conversion data, the system probably won't even have a big change or effects there on it. So definitely a good benefit here by enabling that ECPC, specifically if you're using conversion tracking there. So this is going to be using real-time details and factors there as well. So it's going to be looking at factors such as the device, the browser, location, time of day, the keywords, and the specific search that we're going into. And all of those are the factors that will determine whether or not the system is going to bid up or down on that user. So again, if it's finding that maybe, for example, during a certain time of day or day of the week from a certain device type, so maybe mobile devices on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the system finds these are really effective days and devices, the system will likely bid up there to try to capture those conversions in terms of when and how that adjustment will be taking place. I just want to mention too, this is going to be available on the search network and the display network, so both of those campaign types, except in campaigns that promote mobile app downloads. Unfortunately, not yet available for mobile app download campaigns, focused campaigns. You can also run this for shopping ads or product listing ads if you're running those types of campaigns. That would work on Google search as well.
To clarify one point that you did mention as far as devices go, we do have separate bid adjustments for devices and locations and ad schedule and times, which we'll go in more in depth next week. The good thing with ECPC is it concentrates on that specific user and the behaviors there and how it compares to the people who've converted before.
Exactly. And thanks, Carrie, for bringing that up. We will highlight device bid adjustments and other types of bid adjustments more next week. One important note, though, to make about that is if you are currently using those, so if you are using any of those types of bid adjustments, those will work with ECPC or enhanced cost per click as well. So you can use those in conjunction. The ECPC adjustment will just come after the fact. So after you after the system uses those bid adjustments that you have in place, ECPC would then come into effect. So it could potentially raise those bids up even higher if it thinks it's likely to convert there. So a little bit of who, what, when, and why here for ECPC. The why there, it gives you more control over your so you're retaining that control over your core bid. You're still setting a maximum cost per click. We're not giving the system 100% autonomy there. It can only raise it up to 30% above your maximum cost per click. And again, it might also lower it as well to get you the most conversion. So we would be seeing some conversion improvements there in terms of performance. And again, this is going to be best for those advertisers that do want to retain that control, or if using any third-party bidding tools. This gives you a little bit of an added layer of optimization there. And then this is going to be best for lead generation or e-commerce type businesses, so especially online retail businesses, or if you're focusing on getting maybe like form submissions or any type of online lead there, eCPC is very, very effective. And this can be applied at the campaign or ad group level in terms of campaign settings. Carrie will highlight that implementation there a bit further at the end. But I'll pass on over to Carrie here now to discuss our second of our bid strategies today, the target CPA strategy.
Thanks, Connor. So target CPA stands for cost per acquisition. This is also known as the conversion optimizer bid strategy. So both of those are interchangeable terms. And what it is that you actually will set a target, a goal that you want to pay per acquisition. So say you're tracking phone calls and you only want to pay $5 per phone call. You would set $5 as your target CPA. And then what AdWords will do is it will completely adjust your bids up and down to, on average, get you that $5 per conversion. Now, the thing with the CPA bid strategy is that it does use this historical data to do this. So it's going to compare all the people who have previously converted to the person who's currently searching in the current auction on your site. Now, what this can do is sometimes the cost for that particular conversion action can be higher than your target, and sometimes it's going to be lower. So what our system is trying to do is find that average to equal to your target goal. Now, since Google and AdWords doesn't have complete control over what users do after they reach your site, there are some external factors that can impact this a little bit. So it is a bid strategy that we do recommend evaluating over a longer period of time. Personally, when I talk to advertisers and they're looking at their CPA, I recommend looking at least 2 weeks of information. That way, if someone clicked on your ad today, didn't convert for a few days, you can see all that information there and get the breadth and the full complete picture of what your CPA is. So if you're looking from day to day, measuring off the cost per acquisition might not be the best for you, but this is more for those long-term campaigns. Now, there are prerequisites with using this conversion bid strategy, and that's to have at least 15 conversions in the past 30 days. Now, I actually recommend waiting a little bit more than that. I think most of us actually recommend the same, is to at least 30 to 50 conversions in the past 30 days. You got to find what's best for you, but the main picture here is the more information that our system can get, the better and more accurate it's going to be. Now, this is a bid strategy that is actually really good for your e-commerce businesses and lead generation. If you're focusing on time on site, it's also a good one there. But more or less, it's looking at those the long tail conversions. Alrighty, so eCPC and CPA bidding, they can kind of sound very similar and are very commonly confused. So I want to just make sure that we're very clear on what the difference is and which one is going to be best for you. So both of these bid strategies use past conversion data to help predict a conversion rate for each auction and then adjust your bids accordingly. Now, the biggest difference is that with the enhanced cost per click, that's more of just a sidekick to your manual bidding strategies. That way you can set, I wanted $2 cost per click for my bids, but I'll use this enhanced cost per click to raise or lower it 30% based off of whether or not this person will convert. So you get that control there. With the CPA strategy, there is no cost per click bidding that you're actually setting. You just set that target, and our AdWords system will raise and lower that bid as much as needed to help get you the most conversions on average for that target. So understanding the difference between those two is really helpful. I personally always recommend starting out with the enhanced cost per click strategy, letting that run for a while until you hit enough conversions that you can enable then CPA bid strategy. Either one's not better or worse. It's more or less what your comfort level is and what you want out of your campaigns. So next we're going to talk about something a little bit different. So Connor's going to go over our return on ad spend bid strategy.
Yeah, thank you so much there, Carrie. I do apologize that there may be an issue regarding the slides showing up on your end. So you'll get to see our faces here, and hopefully we'll get that working there for you. But we'll keep moving with the content. We'll do our best to explain it here directly to you there. And again, there is all this information available on the AdWords Help Center as well. So if you want to check out that information online in writing as well. So next is going to be our target ROAS, or target return on ad spend bid strategy. So this is going to be a bid strategy focused on optimizing for a specific value in terms of return on investment that you're putting into your AdWords campaigns and accounts there. So this is a newer type of bid strategy. It hasn't been around as long here as some of the others. But again, it's going to be maximizing your revenue within that target that you set for return on ad spend. So an important note to make about the target ROAS, or target return on ad spend strategy, is going to be that it needs to use a conversion value to understand and to optimize for this target that you're setting for it. So when you're setting up conversion actions within the AdWords account, in the conversion actions settings, one of the options will be for a value that you can input. So you will need to be using a value. So many advertisers don't assign a value. And again, this is going to be a dollar value or a revenue value, something along those lines, or a transaction type value. Your options for setting that value would be each time it happens, the conversion has the same value. So if you want to set a flat rate value, so say maybe the average return that you get for a purchase on your website, or the average transaction value that you get from somebody that contacts you or uses your services, something along those lines. Many advertisers will use that average value as their conversion value. The other option, though, would be setting it so the value of the conversion action varies depending on the price. So that would typically be if you have many different items on your website and you're selling all of those, the value there is going to vary depending on the purchase price there. And that requires some code implementation to get that set up on the website. If that's the case for you and you need that option implemented, definitely do reach out to our team or check out the AdWords Help Center, and we can talk through next steps here in terms of getting the correct implementation there for conversion tracking values as well. So just want to mention that here first for target ROAS.
And to expand upon values for your items and for your conversions, not everybody, and we know this, knows how much a conversion action is worth to them, especially when you're looking at lead generation, forms being filled out, or phone calls. If you have a marketing department, certainly talk to your marketing department, because they're going to be the ones who can guide you a little bit more on what that conversion value is. If you don't have someone specifically doing that, you can still set a value just by thinking to yourself, how much is this worth to me? If I was to go and be able to pay for someone to submit a form or someone to make a phone call, how much would that in turn be for me? And you could set a conversion value off of that.
Definitely. Good insight there. So going back to our target ROAS, so we do need that conversion value being tracked and set up there. And then this strategy would use that conversion value to help reach that target return on ad spend that you're getting. So I think the easiest way to explain this would maybe be through an example. So let's say here, for example, you have $5 in sales. So you have $5 in terms of conversion value that's being made. How you're going to calculate that return on ad spend, you would do $5 divided by $1. So say you invest $1 into the campaign times 100%. That would be a 500,000 or 500% target return on ad spend value there for you. So if you're investing $1 in AdWords, getting $5 in terms of sales, your target return on ad spend there would be 500%. So what AdWords would actually do here is you would set a percentage amount. So say you wanted a 200% return on ad spend, you would input that value into the bid strategy. AdWords would then look at your past performance, your past data, and your past transaction values and conversion values that you've gotten, and then optimize and learn and configure your bids in real time to adjust to reach that return on ad spend that you are specifying. So this isn't a magic fix here for everybody. We can't put in, I want an 800% return on ad spend right from the get-go. You do need to look at your past performance to understand what's going to be realistic and what's going to be feasible within the system to adjust for. So I would say the larger the adjustment or the greater that return on ad spend may be, the more difficult it may be for the system to reach that right away. So that's why we usually recommend that this smart bid strategy for target ROS is better in the long term than more so than necessarily the short term. In the short term, you're going to be seeing some frequent adjustments, raising and lowering of bids there pretty frequently over the first week or two. And then over time, as the system has more data, analyzes more data, it'll be much stronger and much more effective there at understanding and learning how to prove effective with this bid strategy. So again, really a long-term bid strategy, I would say, and I'm sure Carrie can agree. Don't get discouraged if you use target ROS and you don't see immediate results. You're not going to. The system does need time to learn and adjust there to reach that value that you're looking for. But again, this is really focused on that conversion value and optimizing for that. All right, so a little bit of the prerequisites though. So not just anybody can use target ROS. So again, you do need to have values set for your conversions that you're tracking. You also need to have at least 15 or more conversions in the ad groups or campaigns within the last 30 days. So if your ad group or your campaign hasn't reached yet that value, target ROS will not be an option available in that ad group or campaign just yet in terms of settings. And again, that's going to be the bare minimum for it. So the more conversion data that you do have, the more effective this bid strategy, I would say, would be for you. And you also need to have at least 30 days of consistently reported conversion values. So it won't work if you just have one day where you got 15 conversions. We need conversions at least over a period of time there. So that way the system can analyze what days, times, those types of things here are going to perform best for you. So why you should use this strategy, it's going to be a very system intelligent strategy, I should say. So a lot of machine learning that's going into the smart bid strategy. And Google invests a lot of resources to making sure that this is working as effectively as possible. And then it also, target ROS is designed to increase your conversion value. So you will be seeing stronger results from this in the long term. So it is an automated strategy. This is going to be best for, again, lead generation and e-commerce type businesses, especially for online retail businesses. This is going to prove to be super effective for you as long as you're tracking those conversion values.
And to elaborate on what you said, the main point of this conversion strategy is not to look at the number of conversions, but the value, like you said. Mm-hmm. And so what we're going to be looking at is, are we getting those higher priced, more valuable products to show and get purchased and show the ads for those more than those lower spend ones? So it's definitely a great strategy if you're using shopping campaigns in Google Merchant Center.
Mm-hmm. Certainly agree. All right, so I'll pass it on over to Carrie here now to take over in terms of how you can create and modify these bid strategies.
Now, creating bid strategies is actually pretty easy. There's two ways that you can create or use a bid strategy for your campaigns. One is if you actually go into your campaign settings, you scroll down to bid strategies, you should be able to edit that bid strategy right there. Now you have two options. One is to check the box for enhanced CPC, and that's all you need to do to enable that. And so that will go right along with your manual CPC bids. The other one is there's typically another link that says use a smart or a flexible bid strategy. Click on that and it's going to show you all the other options, including the conversion optimizer, also known as the CPA, and the return on ad spend bid strategy. Now there are a few others there that you're going to see as well, but those aren't specifically focused on conversions. But I would definitely say take some time to look at them and research them in our help center, because sometimes focusing on conversions isn't what's best for the return on investment for your business. Now the second option and way to implement them is in your shared library. You can actually create one bid strategy and share it across multiple campaigns really easily. Just on the left-hand side of your page, you go to that gray navigation bar, click on shared library, and then you would go to bid strategies. From there, you're going to see a nice red plus bid strategy button, and you'll be able to select the option. As you're creating that, say if you're doing the return on ad spend, after you put in, if you want your 200% return, it'll ask you which campaigns do you want to apply this to. You select your campaigns and click save, and it's done. And you can edit your bid strategies at any time at either one of these locations. Now, one thing that I kind of touched on that I definitely feel is really important is remember that these are bid strategies that need to learn. They're not going to come out running at the start of the gate. You're going to need to give them about 2-3 weeks to start to get to those either target CPA or that return percentage that you're looking for. So I would not go in and adjust them back and forth a lot during the first period. Set them and let them run for at least 2 weeks so that it has an opportunity to learn, collect that historical data, and figure out what's going to be best to get you what you want.
And I would add to that too. So set them and let them run. You also probably don't want to be making too many major campaign adjustments during that period as well. So if you make a large budget change, increase or decrease, maybe introduce a whole new slew of ads within new ad groups or keywords, that's really going to affect how the system is going to be adjusting for this. So just things to keep in mind there is if you make those types of adjustments, the system will reset that learning period, and it will take another week or two for the system to optimize and reach those values there again. So just keep that in mind, especially from the get-go. If you're making maybe new campaigns or new adjustments there frequently, it can affect how these systems are learning and how long it'll take these bid strategies to optimize.
So if you are making a lot of adjustments and tweaks just getting going on a campaign, use enhanced cost per click. Just check that box and it'll help out. It doesn't require that learning period.
Yeah, exactly. Enhanced cost per click you can use right from the start there. We always recommend. All right, so just to do a brief review here on it. So I'm glad, hopefully you can be able to see these slides here now to give you some information. But we talked about 3 main bid strategies today. So again, these are those smart bid strategies where the system is automatically using some level of adjustment there to optimize for conversion. So first we have enhanced cost per click, enhanced CPC. That's going to be that strategy that maintains your manual bidding control. So you're still setting a maximum cost per click, but the system can raise that up to 30% above that maximum. So again, if you have a $2 maximum cost CPC set in there as your bid, it'll raise it up to maybe $2.60 there as the maximum. It can also lower it as well by up to 100% to focus on getting you the best return on conversions there from it. So it uses your past data, your past conversion data to optimize, to try to capture those conversions there. So it's a real-time auction bidding system there. All right, so our next strategy there is that target return on ad spend or ROAS strategy there. So it was a mouthful to say that one. That's going to be another automated strategy based on conversion values. So if you're tracking conversion values, you can use target ROAS to automatically adjust your max CPC bids to maximize those conversion values. So you put in a target in terms of percentage. So if you want a 150% return on ad spend, that's what you would put in there as your target for the ROAS strategy, and the system would use your past performance for historical data to optimize for that. The last bid strategy there that we discussed was that target CPA strategy. So again, that's going to be the one where you put in a target cost per acquisition there. So in terms of a dollar value, and then the system will adjust your bids up and down to maximize and to reach that target cost per acquisition. So if you have a $50 target CPA, the system can adjust to lower or raise your current bids so that way you're most effectively reaching that target. And again, these are all going to be long-term bid strategies. So here's some of the benefits that we'll get from them. I discussed most of these. The main benefits from enhanced cost per click, though, is going to be that you can easily test using a eCPC within a subset of a campaign. So if you wanted to apply eCPC to just one ad group or a few ad groups within a campaign, you can certainly do that. It's also it gives you probably the most control, I would say, in terms of the bid strategies because you're still manually setting that maximum. The target ROAS and the target CPA bid strategies, those are going to be full-on smart bidding, bid strategies there where the system is going to be taking almost full control. You can still set limits. So for example, the target ROAS strategy, you can set a maximum and a minimum bid limit that the system can bid between. We typically, though, don't recommend using those just because it can really affect how the system is adjusting and how it's learning. But certainly if you want to have that level of control, that option is available, but just be aware of that. It's not necessarily the most recommended approach there in terms of using bid limits on these fully automated strategies. So just don't be alarmed if you see performance changes. That's just the system doing its job. It's still trying to reach that goal there for you. And then again, the target CPA bid strategy, that one you can use across ad groups or campaigns at those levels. It's not bound by any restrictions on campaign structure. And you can also easily apply this. So Carrie discussed using the shared library. You can use this bid strategy pretty easily through that to apply it to certain campaigns and ad groups that have similar or the same target CPAs that you're trying to reach.
Thanks for that recap, Connor. So we're going to give it a few moments right now that if you have any questions, be it if you just want clarification on something that we mentioned, or even have a specific type of business that you want. So we'll give it a couple minutes here, but while we wait and for any questions, I definitely want to make sure that you're all aware of what your support options are with us. We have our online help center in which you just go to support.google.com/AdWords. And from there, you can look up articles on pretty much everything, give you step-by-step instructions with screenshots. And also, if you click in the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a contact us page where you can actually chat in. And I know I personally love chatting with people because that way you get to continue working with your day and also get the answers you need. You can also fill out any of the forms on the Help Center and we'll reply back to you via email or phone number if you provide us your phone number. And then certainly you can always call 866-2-GOOGLE. We're always here to help you out. And most common news channel, honestly. Now, things that people might not know is that we do have an online community that you can use as well. And you could even tweet us or Facebook us, and one of our buddies on the AdWords team will reply back to you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone so much for joining us again. Tune in next week here. We'll go into some additional tips for optimization for conversions. But other than that, hope to see you online soon. Thanks so much and have a great rest of your day.